willkommen! Schön, dass ihr wieder da seid, live auf der Gamescom Bühne. Wir haben jetzt zwei fantastische Gäste. Wir haben Bo hier und Matthew. Matthew ist Lead Audio Engineer, was it right?
Designer, yeah, but that's smart.
Designer. Yeah, and of course you are community manager.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about Planet Zoo, which Dennis and I, we saw it earlier, right?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And you're managing community and you're making the sounds of the animals. Is that your job? You're in front of the microphone and go like...
That would be a terrible game if I did that.
Actually, it might be intriguing.
Okay, we can test this at some
Yeah, it's
point.
like a joke mod. If you play it through, you can play it with special sounds.
Yeah.
If we have enough time, we're going to do that. Yes.
All right, so what is Planet Zoo about? It's like a zoo simulator. You can create your own zoo. You can put up your own habitats and fill them with lots of cool animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we have some material because Dennis and I played the tutorial brilliantly and we recorded that. But in addition to this, we have a brand new trailer that you guys released yesterday and some B-roll, as we call it, which is something that you guys...
Let's show the trailer first, I guess. This showed the game at its best, because what we were playing is, of course, pre-alpha or something like that. The game will improve, to say that in advance. And it looks fine already. I really liked it. It had a nice feeling of... I always like it if a game, when it's sunny, it makes me feel warm. And if a game, when it's snowy, it makes me feel cold. And this game accomplishes that. Niels was building a biome for a snow leopard. And it was a little bit freezing behind it. And is this really the trailer? I'm a little bit confused. This looks like our B-roll right now.
It looks like you're actually designing the terrain here. So with the animals, they all have their own needs and their own habitats that they need to have. So it looks like you've created terrain for the bears that has a lot of sand in it and has a little bit of water so they can cool down and get the right temperature. Because as you say, the temperature is so important for these animals as well. You can't just take a bear and put them in a warm environment, or take an elephant and put them in a very cold environment. You have to manage the actual environment around the animals, which is completely new for us.
The temperature, the ground, the stuff that's in there, the social, other animals and stuff, and there's so many things you have to get under control to make the animals like feeling great. And there's a very cool new feature, because you don't only you gotta make money with this part. You can sell your animals, but not only that. Please tell me about this other currency. You got some, I forgot the name, the green currency, where you can trade the animals for this green currency. You know what I'm talking about?
I haven't seen the green currency yet.
So what do you mean?
Can you remember?
Amazing.
If you
I think you're talking about the animal trading, right?
Yes.
So where you basically, the animals, they all have their own DNA, and if you combine animals, as you can combine animals in a magical way, because it's a very family-friendly game, they take each other's traits. They get larger, or they become more resilient, or the patterns on their skin, they take them over. So you can actually breed your own animal that is very good at a specific thing. And then in franchise mode, which is part of the beta that we start on the 24th of September, if you pre-order, then you can actually exchange your animals with other animals online. They have their own zoos, they're breeding their own animals, and you can start
online. Does that mean with other players?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Which is what real zoos do, right? Real zoos are all about conservation. So they're all about keeping these animals bred in a really good way, making sure that the DNA doesn't become too samey, and actually getting animals back into the wild when they're endangered. So this kind of mini thing that zoos these days do, this very important function, you have that as an online component of franchise mode, which is going to be so cool.
That's totally awesome.
How deep is the multiplayer part? How much options do we have in addition to trading the animals?
So, Bo, you want to?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it multiplayer. We do have like online functionality in franchise mode. So like Matt was saying, you can trade your animals and really work together to build like a global zoo. And then of course we have the Steam Workshop, which is more of the creative aspect, I guess. So you can create any habitat, whether it's in Sandbox or your career or whatever, and you can save it as a blueprint, upload it to the workshop, and then other players can download that and put that in their parks. So we have community members that get so creative with it and build like beautiful climbing structures or buildings and save it to the workshop, and then other players can put it in their park.
Yeah, this is something that I saw, that you can be very creative. there are some like blocks or forms that you can combine.
Yeah.
You can. The possibilities seem to be endless, like to design your own habitat.
Yeah, I think it's like a signature thing from your development studio, from Frontier, that has already been in Planet Coaster and in the dinosaur game, that you can put little elements together and make something bigger. They're not only those assets you take, put them there. That's the bench. That's the dustbin and stuff. You can put your own things together, and that's pretty cool. That's what I like, and that's what he really like to do your own thing and to get really creative. But I got a little fear because there was a little bit of criticism for the Planet Coaster game that you could get very creative, but there was a little bit of management part missing. Could you can you tell me about that?
Yeah,
did you tackle that?
So we heard that as well, and we learned from our games, and we learned from our community.
Yeah.
The community are absolutely fantastic, telling us what they like, what they don't like. We take all of that in, take it into our new game. So one of the things right now, if you're talking about Planet Coaster, right, you put down a flat ride or you make a coaster, and you can make these really cool rides. But the rides themselves, they do not care about the environment. Yeah, maybe aesthetically you can make an environment. These animals, they're all about the environment. It's all about making sure that they have the right environment to survive, to thrive. So there's a lot of management that goes just into how your terrain is laid out. If it's warm enough, it's cold enough, if they have the right food, the right entertainment, even down to getting the right plants for this animal in that environment. So a lion, a tiger, likes a lot of foliage, right? They need foliage. That's what makes them happy. So your environment with a lot of foliage makes the tiger happier. Making the environment fit for your animal is now part of the management itself. So we've managed to kind of make that creative management thing all part of the same thing, and the tools are easy enough to use, right?
The parks are huge.
Yes,
we were
they are.
shown how big they can get, and we were seeing a small park, but the borders of that park, they were so far away, you could like quadruple the size, and that's pretty impressive. And you get really got the space to really play around and not restricted to a small part. I really like that.
And some animals need that space, right? For you have like big savannas where you have elephants and springbok and giraffes like living together in this huge habitat. They need that space to be able to thrive and be happy. If you put them too close together, they're not going to do very well. They're going to be sad, die. That in turn is going to make your guests not want to come to your zoo because you don't want to see animals in distress. So having that space for players to play with is really important for us.
And can you go by jeep through the park? Do you know that? Because I love those parks where you go by bus and don't have to stand up and you're driving past. Is that possible?
Yeah, we have transport rides. We currently have the 4x4, so it's like a jeep that we've announced, and we have a steam train as well. And there's going to be a few more
steam
surprises.
train?
Yes.
In the animal park?
Yes, it goes around. It's lovely.
Makes
That's interesting.
Sound.
Yeah.
All right, you made them?
Yes. Yeah, that's the special version that we're going to do.
That was the official one?
That was the
That was
official
it.
one. Yeah.
Choo-choo.
Now, are there some like difficulties while working with animals? I guess in the other games you might, I don't know, have you been part at Planet Coaster as well?
I've worked on all the last 4 games we did at Frontier. Yes.
Okay, so sounds for animals, are they more difficult to make than
never
sounds
worked
from
with
coasters?
animals, right?
Yeah.
So coasters was interesting. If you record a coaster, you get a lot of people screaming on the coaster. You don't want that. So we went to the theme park when it was empty, and we had a sound designer on a coaster just recording the thing over and over again. Now, when you go to a zoo, that was the best job, right? Like, do it again. I'm pretty sure he only needed 1 recording, but he just wanted to go 8 times.
I do the same,
Would you? Yes.
Sure.
So you go to a zoo, and you've been to zoos, right? And you listen out what animal sounds you hear. And you can probably say this. How many animals do you hear at a zoo?
Not so much, to be honest. Yeah, they are very quiet and depressed. Because, I mean, like, to give you an example, we have like a zoo, a classical zoo in our hometown, and then there's a wild park, and they do have the same animals, like the bears. The one is like a huge habitat. And when I visited, the bears were running, like, and it's so amazing. And in the zoo, in their little habitat, I'm going there for like 30 years, and they're always sitting around and they do nothing. And I think this is like, you can see that the animal has a better life in the wild park, and
I think that's a big part of Planet Zoo as well, where you really have to make the habitat fit the animal that is in there. And the interesting thing is, you say they were running, but I bet you couldn't hear their footsteps, and I bet you couldn't hear them make like big noises here, like you would in a Hollywood movie, like they would be rah, rah. And real animals don't do that. Real animals actually don't want to be that. They don't want to broadcast to the world, here I am. They want to be quiet so that there's not another animal that knows they're there. So if we go to a zoo and we record the animals, all we record is kids. And people making noise and talking about things, and maybe some water and maybe some wind. So we can't do that. We have to break every single animal up into little parts, sound-wise, break them up into little parts, like footsteps and skin and breathing, and then the vocalizations. And the footsteps we do ourselves. We have a Foley room. It has sand in it, and it has, we use salt for snow. And then we get like boxing gloves, and those are elephant footsteps. There you go. To do the elephant footsteps and on the different surfaces. And that way we can kind of recreate, to give them a sense of space in an environment, kind of make things larger than they really are. And the same with fur, and the same with skin and breathing. And then when they do a vocalization, when it's like it's calling out to another animal, we need the actual recording. We need, you can't just, I cannot do a bear sound. I could try, but you would not buy it. You would go, oh, they ran out of money. They have the sound designer do it. So that's where we get the real sounds. We send sound designers out all across the world. They bring out back like really, really good recordings, and we use those for the animals. To make them sound as authentic as we can, because they look authentic and they move authentic. And the animation team has done such a beautiful job on this. The fact you can create like any structure out of the terrain, right? And these kind of, you can build these platforms, and they can just jump and run on it and walk on it, and the feet just follow the terrain, and the whole movement follow it. The technology is just, you talk to one of those guys and it's mind-boggling. They worked years on this, on getting this right.
Don't destroy my illusion, because I like I like to get into the zone and think like this is real. And if I build a habitat, is he gonna like it? And then I wait, and he's using it. And I don't want to see the algorithm behind it. I just want to see the animal, and it looks really cool, really realistic. And we built a snow leopard habitat. It was so cool to see, because you can click on the animal, and then you can see what it likes and then you try to make it right, try to make it fitting. And when you see, now I got it, and you see, it really likes where it is now. That's really fun.
So why are you the only guys capable of making those previously pretty often seen simulation games? I mean, we had from Bullfrog theme park, we had Roller Coaster Tycoon and this stuff, but in the last couple of years I always see only you guys doing
it's not just
Creative Assembly make amazing games, Total War games.
2 Point
we
Studios.
absolutely love those. Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's no Park Simulation Total War, or is it?
War Park Simulation. Did you get it?
Excuse me?
It's War Park Simulation.
War Park. I didn't see it like that.
Germans.
No, but actually there aren't that many development studios, and you seem to like specialize on park simulations with dinosaurs, with roller coasters. Now focus on animals. Is there some kind? Is this like your fetish or something? Why are you the professional?
I wouldn't use that word, but definitely.
I said English is not my first language.
Maybe
I took the wrong word, but you know what I mean.
No, of course.
I mean, Frontier has got a great track record in simulation games, right? We've got, in the recent years, we've got Elite, we've got Planet Coaster, Jurassic World Evolution, as you said. I think in general, simulation games are sort of resurging anyway. Like we said, there's a couple of different other studios that are working on it as well. And I think from my angle, the community angle, there's been a huge gap between the previous games. There's been like 10 or 12 years between Zoo Tycoon and Planet Zoo, or Roller Coaster Tycoon and Planet Coaster. So there was such a need for people to have that feeling again of going into a theme park and creating that entire space yourself, and the humor that comes with those games as well. And that's something that we really try to sort of revive and bring back to everyone.
One can see that.
In addition to the management of the animal itself and its habitat, how deep is the rest of the management system when you compare it like to theme park? What I liked about
Planet Coaster.
I mean the old theme park.
Yes. Okay.
When I was a child, what I loved about it was not only creating your own roller coaster and your own attractions, but you had also take care of the visitors. Like if you had a French fries imbiss, you have
the salt, right?
Yes, exactly. How much salt do you use in order to get them thirsty? So they buy another drink,
Yeah.
And that part, is this also included?
I mean, it's definitely something we did in Planet Coaster. You could add salt to those fries, and oh my goodness, people were definitely playing around with that. It will be that nitty gritty in Planet Zoo. Again, like we've learned a lot from our previous games as well. So it's something that it's important to us to get right. It's important for us to keep developing as well. I think there's lots of different play styles. So we have the career mode for players who want to go through those levels, have the story, and sort of learn by doing. You have sandbox mode where you can do exactly that, just plop things down and learn the hard way. Franchise mode to do it with the global community online. But you can get so deep into it. We've got those power systems, we've got water facilities, all the animals. I mean, you've clicked a little bit through their needs menus, right? There's so much to take care of just in terms of enrichment. And then enrichment is not just enrichment, it's food enrichment and it's toys. It's like lots of different things, right? Do I get it right for the animal? Their space, their social needs, all of that. And then in terms of staff, they need things to function as well. They need a break room to go and rest. They need, you need to have their salaries. You need to have enough of them so they can rotate.
The staff paths.
Staff paths as well. Yeah, good shout. Where they can, we have this new feature now called staff paths. So you can get really strategic with your object placement. So having a big habitat, if the vet, for example, has to go from one side of the zoo all the way to the other side to go to the clinic, it's not going to be a very good use of their time. So using staff paths, they can use the background, the back way maybe, through the alleys, and no one can see them, no one will bother them, and they can take care of the animals the right way. So little things like that. Yeah.
What I also like, if I can add to that, the way it all ties together. Like the guests have to be able to visually see the animals. And if the animals can visually see the guests, they can get stressed. So you have to actually build in places in your environment where the animals can go hide, and you have to make places where the guests can see the animals. So, and even the tiniest little place they can see through it, but there's actually spaces where they can or cannot see the animals. So all of what you said all ties into your environment and how you lay that out, and learning about it and understanding how all of that works.
And for the guests as well, we added a new need for them. So there's now an education need for guests, because when you go to a modern zoo, you don't, like you said, you don't want to go and feel sad, right?
Yes.
You want to go and learn about the animals. You want to take your children there and educate them. You want to see animals that are thriving, that are having young animals and maybe eventually get released back into the wild. So now when in Planet Zoo, when your guests go to the zoo, they want to see the same thing. So we have the Zoopedia. So this is like a very carefully researched in-game encyclopedia, basically of animal facts. And you can place like signs by your habitats that displays that, and then the guests will go there and they'll learn about the animals. So that's depicted in the game as well. Just again, little touches like that, so important.
Yeah. So we have to come to an end, but a last wish that I do have, I as much as I love animals, I also love imagining who's going to win. Like if you have different and when you have this exchange system with your online competitors, you can also, like, if you treat your animal really good and you breed it really strong.
I don't like where this is going.
No, it's great. And then we have this brown bear, and you have really taken care of its genes, and it's like really strong. And then there's this battle arena with the other guys online, and your brown bear.
I'm sorry.
There is no battle arena.
You should not be doing this.
Please do it for me, please.
You can, but you shouldn't.
That's a really good answer.
When is it coming out?
The 5th of November. So that's our release date, and the beta will be the 24th of September to the 8th of October, and you can join that by pre-ordering the deluxe edition.
As soon as you have a version that I can play, I would love to play it on Rocket Beans TV.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Are we sure about this? Did we not just hear what he's going to do?
I'm not going to watch because it will break my heart. But we'll help you out.
You're going to love it. I'm going to build the best zoo that you've ever seen.
Sure.
So, thank you very much, Bo and Matthew,
Thank you.
You've been here, and I wish you much fun for the rest of your days here. And now we're going to see Control with Elias and I guess Gregor. Hi guys. Also jetzt geht's weiter mit Control. Das war's von uns und einen fantastischen Zoospiel. Bis gleich. Tschüss.